that time of the week again. We're joined by Emily Cook, she of Real Vision fame. Real Vision, I think I'm going to do that every week. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you very much.
Good week this week?
It's been a very, very busy week at Real Vision, yes, and lots of exciting things happening on Ireland to do with film as well.
Really good.
Especially to do with the MannInShorts filmmaking scheme. MannInShorts is actually a scheme that was created by Dave and Christy Armstrong, who you know, here on the island to promote and nurture Indigenous filmmaking. There have been several productions that have gone out this over the last year, and there are several more that are actually currently being produced. The MannInShorts Isle of Man Film Festival 2012 happened actually 6 weeks ago, which was sponsored by the Arts Council, and it provided the perfect opportunity to showcase some of the films which have been made under the scheme over the last 2 years. One of the workshops for the film festival was run by Anne-Marie O'Connor, who came over to the island to do a screenwriting workshop, and she joins us today for a quick chat about being back on the island. So, Anne-Marie, what brings you back to the Isle of Man?
I am here to run a writing course this evening and tomorrow, and I was over about 6 weeks ago. I think it was 6 weeks for the MannInShorts Film Festival, and it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I've got family in the Isle of Man, so it was. I know the Isle of Man well anyway, but to come over and see just, I suppose, a different aspect of the island, because it's just really family for me when I come over, and to come over and be involved in something like that, I just thought it was great, and I just thought that what the ambition of the festival is really, really good for writers and directors, and to give that sort of autonomy to people that are just starting out is great, because I don't think there's anything that I've been able to tap into when I was first starting out writing in Manchester that has that level of ambition about it. So I was really impressed. I thought it was great, and that's why I really wanted to be involved. And I think so that's what I'm trying to do today, this evening and tomorrow with the writers' workshop, is to sort of continue on with what we started doing in the previous workshop, but I'm going to sort of, there's hopefully going to be more ambition to it, because what I'm going to say is everyone here wants to write, so let's write, let's create something that's going to be half an hour that you've then got at the end of it to go wherever you want to go with it.
That's a little sneaky peek, because I'm obviously going to be taking part in the workshop this
You'll
evening.
Be there this evening.
The one 6 weeks ago was fantastic, because you gave us all a prop, a shoe, and then we had to create a character from that prop. Whereas pulling out a character out of the blue is really, really difficult, but having something to work with, all of a sudden, you know how they would behave in a certain circumstance. So that was great to be learning about script writing through starting with key characters.
Yeah. I think that character for me is really important when you're writing. I think it's far easier to start with characters and then develop your story than to do it the other way around, because everything hangs on character, I think. And once you've nailed that, then you can go on and you can create worlds and story and everything. I thought that was an interesting way of doing it, and what we did in the writers' workshop, wasn't it, was to just pull from a shoe, sort of say, what would this person's favourite meal be, or what sort of wallpaper have they got on their wall, or whatever way we did it. And then it was things like what the questions were: if this person had to say that they loved somebody today, who would it be? And then just by asking those little questions, you develop a character that you might not necessarily have thought existed at all until you added it all up. So I think it's a really neat way of getting people to think about character that if they haven't in the past.
Yes, it was great. What about your background? What are you best known for?
Well, Trollied is probably what I'm best known for, which is a comedy on Sky One. I began writing novels. That's the first thing that actually that's not true. I wrote some stage stuff, and then I got a book deal, and then I wrote novels. And I've done some ghostwriting, and I've done pretty much all sorts of writing, and then I taught myself to write for TV and film by reading lots of scripts, and then just sitting down and writing and rewriting and trying to make sense of what I was doing. And then the first TV thing I ever worked on was Waterloo Road, and then after that I just decided that I wanted to try and get something of my own authored on TV, which, looking back, is a really sort of naive ambition because it's really difficult to do. But it did, I suppose it did work because Trollied's on the telly, but...
it's hilarious.
Oh, right.
It's
Thanks.
so good.
Thanks. Yeah, it's sometimes... because it's on after 9 o'clock and we can get away with murder. There are some lines, you know, when you're like, oh, God, I can't believe I said that. And I'm now watching it in the room with my mum and dad. I'm like that. La, 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 cup of tea, anyone. But, yeah, it's been brilliant to work on something like that. And because it's been team written, to work in that environment, because usually as a writer you work on your own. So yeah, it's been great. A
lot of people have a barrier between thinking that they want to write and actually putting pen to paper. I mean, I have this problem because I have all these ideas, and that's why I'm going along to your workshops. But for those people who don't necessarily know about the MannInShorts workshops and who want to start writing, what would be kind of your top tip for them?
I think the best thing and the only thing to do is to sit down and write. And it might be, you might look at whatever you've written and go, I don't know what that is. Well, I don't know why I've done it. Why am I writing? And then just keep going, because I think that if somebody, all of the successful writers that I know write, and that's what they do. They get up in the morning and they write, or, you know, they kind of, you don't want to shout it too loud, but they do it for free because they just love to write. And I think that when you've got somebody that says something like, oh, I had an idea for something, and then they tell you the idea and they tell you they've had that idea for 5 years, I personally think they are not going to write. I think it's just something that's instinctive to you and that you end up doing. And if you've got a love for it, then that's the best thing to do, is to just sit down. And if I can do it, I think anyone can do it. So I just think, just do it. And then anytime you get an opportunity to make a contact, or, you know, somebody says, well, I know somebody who, then be polite and nice about it, but use that contact in the best way you can, you know, without driving anybody crackers. I think that's the best advice as well. Don't be going, can you just read my script? Can you just read my script? Can you just read my script? But, you know, people will be helpful. On the whole, I think. I try and be helpful when people are starting out, because I had people who were helpful to me, and you know, why not? Why not?
You already have been very helpful to people on the Isle of Man who have scripts through MannInShorts.
Yeah.
I know there are one of two people who, last time you were over at the after party for the film festival, you know, had a script in their pocket and wanted to speak to you.
There was a script coming out a few times, wasn't there? Yeah, yeah. I didn't actually end up seeing that script. But one of the guys who was on the course did send me some of his writing and said, would you mind having a look? And it was absolutely excellent. And I'm not just saying that because he might hear this. It was brilliant. And I just thought and you could just tell in the room that everyone really responded well to, like, building character, and everyone there was there for the reason that they wanted to write. So I think that there's a good bunch of people here, and that should be encouraged. And there's no reason why people can't be writing and writing really well. So
I'm sure everybody's going to really benefit from your workshops.
Hope so.
Yes.
We're boring them all to tears, so you'll be asleep by 10 o'clock, Emily.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. But yes, I look forward to them anyway. And
I'm looking forward to
see you back on the island a lot more in the future.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
Thank you for talking to us.
No problem. Thanks.
Probably really obvious, but as Anne-Marie is from Manchester way, we thought we'd get the Stone Roses on. That is I Am the Resurrection. Emily, you went to see your one to watch over the weekend, didn't you? You went to watch Skyfall. Tell us what you thought about it.
Yes, I went to see James Bond's new film Skyfall by director Sam Mendes, and it was fantastic.
So worth all the hype?
Absolutely. I don't want to give too much away, but I went to see it with John Crane, who's a cinematographer and knows what he's talking about, and he was saying how beautifully shot it is. So it wasn't just me thinking it was beautifully shot. It pays homage very tastefully to a lot of Bond cliches, the cars, the drinks, the girls, but done in a very, very modern way, which is in touch with our current values. There was a programme on the BBC about the chase scene in Skyfall, and in order to have 2 cars, one was a Range Rover and one was an Audi, both of which sponsored the film, they had 8 versions of those individual cars, which they did various amounts of damage to, so they could continue with the continuity.
So that was your one to watch last week. What are you tipping for the top this week?
This week's one to watch has to be Madagascar 3, as it's half term, a feel-good film, and it's now showing at the Broadway cinema in a 3D option and also a 2D option. It stars the voices of Ben Stiller, Chris Rock, Jada Pinkett Smith, David Schwimmer, and it's a good fun film. A great way to occupy the children. Oh, and IMDb gave it 7 out of 10.
That's a really good rating.
Yeah, it's pretty good for them.
So there's something special about this film when it comes to real vision as well, isn't there?
There is, yes, Ashley. We've actually produced an advert for the Wildlife Park, which is being shown before the film, and it's basically saying if you like all these animals in Madagascar 3, why not come and see them in real life? So we shot that over the summer, got some penguins, some ring-tailed lemurs.
Tell me there was meerkats.
There's one shot of a meerkat,
Yay!
yes, but they're not one of the key animals in Madagascar as far as I'm aware.
I know, I just like meerkats.
Everybody likes meerkats.
I know, who doesn't like a meerkat?
Simples.
Thank you so much for coming up. Anne-Marie, was great to speak to. She just seems like such an interesting lady. I am a little bit in love with her. I don't know about you.
She's pretty great.
So obviously you come up and you film the tracks. You filmed the tracks for tonight's session, actually, because we've got Ian Thompson on in a bit. But now it's time for another of your favourite tracks from the Saturday Night Live Sessions back catalogue.
I'd say it would have to be Kathy Crow's cover that she did of Lady Gaga's Edge of Glory. It was done really beautifully and so differently to the Lady Gaga version. Yes, that was really, really special.
It was beautiful, kind of standout track on the night, I think. I don't know if you agree.
Yes.
Let's hear it again then. We get loads of requests for this. So for those of you texting on a weekly basis wanting Kath Crow's Edge of Glory, this is for you.